I'm Nikki. I've had MS for 1,649 days. So I was diagnosed with MS back in 2015. So my first knowing symptom of having MS was getting up from a stool in the kitchen and going completely blind in my right eye. Just gone completely. And then had 1,001 different tests and specialists because I weren't sure what was going on. And by the 28th of February, I had my neurologist telling me that I had relapsing remitting MS. How do I feel? Rather a bit numb, I suppose, because my mum had it. And I think when my mum had it, there was no treatment. I knew from her experience that she'd had no medication, no treatments of any kind. I mean, there was no MRIs, nothing. Well, I just saw her year by year by year, just each ability being eroded away. She went from being able to walk, to having sticks, to a wheelchair quite quickly, no sensation in her hands. It was all physical, where for me it's mainly been hidden illness. Since I've had MS, I've had some pretty good highs and some pretty awful lows as well. But really, when I say they're like a spasm or a cramp, it's not like any cramp I've had. I've had cramp obviously before. So it might come on like a cramp and it'll be in my right leg, so from the knee down, calf, right the way through to my toes. And it's as if it's in your bones and your tendons and your muscles, and everything just goes. And if you tried to straighten your toes, you'd break your toes. You can't stretch it out, so it's not like normal cramp. It's flipping painful, and it's always in the night time. Highs, I think, were when my eyesight started coming back. That I couldn't see colours at all, even when it started coming back. So actually being able to see, it sounds quite a small thing, but being able to see the sky is blue, but like the sky had been white for like, even when it was starting to come back, you couldn't see colour. So if I kept this eye shut, everything was still white. Actually being able to see a blue sky again, you take it for granted. Well, I don't now. I look at the sky and I think how beautiful it is. One of my highest highs has got nothing to do with having good or bad days or anything like that. My daughter had nagged me for years and years to have a dog, and we'd always said no, no, no. What happens if you go off to university and I can't walk? Who's going to walk the dog? I then thought, you know what? If I want a dog, I'm going to get a dog. So I said to my husband, I might always be able to walk. I don't want MS to be the thing that rules my life. So I now have a dog, and he's exceptionally naughty, but it is my two fingers to MS. Today's today. If you live for today, then that's all you can do. You don't really know what's around the corner. Anything could be around the corner. I mean, my husband always laughs and says, well, you'll either be in a wheelchair with me pushing you around, we'll probably have to live in a bungalow because I don't want you to have one of those stair lifts, or if you're anything like the rest of your family, you'll be dying young and we won't have to worry about that, which sounds awful. However, we are laughing when we're saying it, because if you don't, what do? You cry. I think more than any other campaign, we are so close to finding that critical answer to stopping MS, and for the hundreds of thousands of people whose lives will be affected, just not for them, but their family and friends and everything. We just need that push over the finish line. I would just say to everyone, please, if you can, get involved in whatever way you can.